Well, good morning everyone, it's Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. First week of August. It's a sunny morning, not too hot yet, but we are going to be talking hebes, as in that plant behind me. So if I turn the camera around and we'll have a little chat and then see what we should be doing. Okay then, so this is the hebe that we're going to be tackling today. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of different types of hebes. Some are deciduous, as in they lose their leaves in winter, and some are evergreen, meaning they keep their leaves in winter, and they range in size from literally about 30 centimeters in height up to things like this one or great orm that are going to be getting 5 to 6 foot in height. They also have similar sort of spreads to their height as a rule of thumb. So most hebes are really happy in a sun or even a dappled shade position. The variegated types or darker leaved purpley pink types always want a full sun. Fairly free draining soil is also important for them. So what do we know? Well, we also know that not all hebes flower, but that doesn't necessarily matter because pruning remains the same. So like I said at the beginning, we're into first week of August, and that means it is pruning time. And you can see on this one that most of the flowers have gone over. There are the odds few small insignificant ones coming, but really we need to tackle this and give it a prune whilst the timing's right. As a general rule then, with the hebes, you're looking first off to remove, like with most prunings, your obvious dead, diseased or damaged stems, and look to open up the middle a little bit if you can do by removing some of the crossing branches. Now with hebes, most of the time, so you don't actually need to prune them other than just to take the flowering tips off, because a lot of them are so compact. But when they get like this, which hasn't been pruned, I'm guessing for probably a good 5 or so years, you'll need to do some more work to them. And so what you can do, you can actually reduce the overall height by a third. You don't really want to go more than that because it will send the plant into shock, but removing by a third generally will mean that you'll be removing most of this green canopy, which is not as bad as it may appear, because what that will do is it will allow light into the center and the base of the plant to hopefully allow for rejuvenation. Cats come out to play, I should say. I'm not in my garden, I'm in a client's garden, but that's fine because they're happy for me to do the video. So this is what we're going to be tackling today, is the pruning on the hebe. And so we'll start off by removing the dead, diseased, damaged material, and well, also remove the height. So it's much easier with this, so literally just take a blanket level and we'll cut the height to start with, and then you can then look to shape up the plant, and so removing those 3D type of stems, dead, diseased, damaged stems as we go. And then once we've done that, got rid of the bulk, we'll then tackle the middle section. So let me just grab a pair of secateurs. As always, make sure they're nice, clean, sharp, free working. Now with the hebes, you can see most of the time they have these, well, let's try and show you. let's find a stem. Well, on this it's easy because they have a distinct leaf, you can see that, or shoot, and all hebes have this opposite formation, so their leaves form opposite one another. And what that means is actually when you go down the stems you can see this distinct banding, and it's just above that banding that you would be doing your pruning. So working out roughly to remove a third of the height, so we can actually come down to about there, just above the stem there, or above that ring, and that will heal, and then you'll get shoots coming from all the way across. So it's basically a case of just repeating that process. So let me cut the top off and then we'll have a look. Right, if I just step back, so you can see the top growth has all been cut off, and cutting down to these individual sections, and you may or may not be able to see, let's see, so just there, can't now those little green bits, they are shoots or buds forming just below, just above that banding I was talking about. So that's why I pruned to there, and again you can see them there. Are there any others? Not obvious, but you get the gist. So that's why we prune to the buds, or above those joints that we know where the buds will form. So that's top taken off, some of the dead. Now what I would suggest is we just do a little bit of formative pruning, as this is essentially a bit of rejuvenation process as well. So we'll just go around nipping back to maintain a shape, and ideally you want it as a bit of a ball shape on these hebes, as they will look better. And then probably should take that a little bit lower. Then you can then start looking, and so we want to take out any of the obvious dead, which is obvious because it is dark brown as opposed to this lighter brown or green. So nip those back, and at the same time we're looking through the center to see what can come out. Now, so some of this dead that's showing in the middle, that would be dead because it was previously not getting any light from this from the dense canopy that was already present. So you probably find once you whip those dead bits off that actually some fresh growth comes out in its place. Then we've got stuff like that where you can see that those sections are dead and dying, but it's also going inwards, not desirable. So just whip it off, and then that will improve the shape, not drastically, but it will improve the shape. Likewise with this section here, you can see there's damage to the stem. So although we've already cut the height down, just cut and remove that damaged section. The plant will thank you for it in the long term. So like I say, I'm just going to go through now, just thin out these centres, and that will be basically done on this pruning and I guess renovation of the Hebe. So let me just finish up. Right, and there you have it. So it's all pruned back, gone through the middle, removed all the dead, diseased, damaged, crossing stems, old stuff that we don't want, and obviously we've taken off a third of the height. It's worth discussing, talking about the fact that hebes don't have a long lifespan. So I guess this is probably about 10 years old, and in all honesty they don't tend to live that much longer than that anyway. So it's always a good idea, if you've got a Hebe that you particularly like, having a go at doing some cuttings. And so whilst we're doing the pruning now, you can also take some or use some of those cut off pieces as your cutting material. And I will add a link to this video to show you how to do cuttings for Hebe, and indeed for a Hebe that I've done a video on previously. And so you can see that it's easy to propagate and they will reliably take. So coming back to this one, you know, when we talk about longevity, you can see that the stem is starting to develop some splits, some gnarled sections and signs of decay, and so it won't be too much longer, I wouldn't have thought, before this plant ceases to be. But anyway, that's for another day. So that's the video done. How to prune and rejuvenate your Hebe. Not particularly difficult process, but worth doing. And like I say, use some of that cut off material to then become cutting material for your own propagation. But yeah, if you've got any questions, then obviously please send them over to me. I always do my best to answer them for you. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that reminder button so you don't miss out on future videos that I may be doing and are putting out there. But as always, most important thing is to enjoy being outside, enjoy the weather, enjoy your projects, and have fun in the garden. So until next time, bye for now.